We're here today with Steve Morton from the Nspcc. Hello Steve, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thanks for inviting me.
I'm very interested in your organisation, and I'd like to chat to you, just formally tell me a little bit more about what your organisation does, what the aims, objectives are. So please tell me a bit, how you started.
Sure. In 1881, there was a Liverpool banker called Thomas Agnew. He went to New York and found that there was an organisation there that protected the rights of children. And he was very interested in it. And when he came back, he realised that we didn't have an equivalent here. And it was ironic because we already had an RSPCA preventing cruelty to animals, but not to protect children. So he set about forming what was then the Liverpool Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. The idea was then taken up by Reverend Benjamin Waugh in London 3 years later in 1884. And he set about forming the London Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, which eventually became the Nspcc.
When I was at school, and we had these blue eggs.
The blue eggs, yeah.
And I always remember that because I used to collect all and put all my change in there, and we used to take it to school, and that was a long time ago. Do they have these things still going on now, or is that finished with?
Well, the equivalent of, I suppose, of the blue egg is our school's fundraising teams.
Right.
They go in and they have a very important role to play because they fundraise and they work within the national curriculum. So very often the fundraising things are things like sponsored spell or sponsored maths, which the teachers are quite keen on, obviously. But also what they also do is provide a very important child protection message and let children know that the Nspcc is someone that children can turn to.
So what has your organisation achieved in the last 20, 34 years or whatever it is since you've been going? What have you achieved, and how have you benefited families, children? What have you done?
The Nspcc has a lot of different audiences for its message and always has had. When it started, what it did was it lobbied government to change laws to make sure there were laws to protect children, and we still do that today.
Yeah.
And we've been at the heart of so many important changes in legislation, from the original what was called the Children's Charter in 1889 to recent changes in the law with regards to grooming and the use of internet chat rooms. So we still do that.
Okay.
We also provide direct services to children and their families. And that hasn't changed, if you like. We just after the war, we had members of staff who used to go into families, and families used to actually contact the Nspcc and ask for help and advice in parenting. And we still do a lot of work with families now. And interestingly, there are two types of services that the Nspcc provides. We provide national services, like our national helpline. There is a website for 12 to 16-year-olds called thereforme.com. And we have a service called the Special Investigation Service, which is a team that looks at organisational abuse, so whether concerns about abuse in children's homes or things like that. So we do a lot of national things that everybody can access. But we actually also tailor-make services to local areas where the need is, and actually create something which we hope will then be taken up by the social services, because we're a relatively large organisation, but compared to the Department of Social Security, we're very small.
Okay.
So we're best placed, if you like, to create examples of best practice which are then followed. And things like the Child Protection Register and social workers having case conferences, all those things were originally started by the Nspcc and are now the norm.
We all know about Childline. Okay. In comparison with that, how do people get confused with your organisation with Childline, or is it that what because to me it's about children, isn't it? So are you a separate entity, or or are you working in conjunction with Childline?
We certainly work together.
Right.
We communicate very well with all of the other children's charities. With Childline in particular, they have a slightly different emphasis than us.
Right.
Children will typically phone Childline with a number of different issues. I suppose our There For Me website, which deals with bullying, deals with drug use as well as physical and sexual abuse, is similar in a sense to Childline because of the range of topics it covers. whereas our helpline tends to be where there is a concern for the safety of a child, and we do get calls from children to our child protection helpline, and we would encourage children to phone us if they felt they were in danger, but we get a lot of calls from the general public.
Are they all in English, or do they cater for different languages? Or
no, there are 5 different Asian languages that are catered for on the helpline, also Welsh on the helpline and English.
All right, excellent. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you for joining us, and I hope we can work together, and we will contact you and wish you all the best for the future. Thank you to the viewers for watching us.